fear and loathing in New Orleans, a spiral down the human mind. I penetrated New Orleans in an extensive condom of steel. There was a tornado around that time, but the pilot landed the machine. For it was absolutely necessary I was to walk the grounds of the city that very night, in order to begin my introspective spiral down the human mind. It was like a giant trip on drugs. But without the drugs, I'm guessing the paranoia I felt could be the production of drugs. Let me take you down my trip. Exactly a year later, with the hope that you may understand the mechanisms of a brain pierced by a needle so incredibly painfully. Then you look down at your feet and you realize that your brain organs are spread all across the fucking floor. New Orleans is an asylum for America's alienated outcasts. The ones that didn't survive the system. You've heard about the decadence within the grounds of the city, of the alcohol and the narcotics, of the blues, a space, measured in meters or light years, determines your reality and the rules you must follow in order to operate. Well, New Orleans is structured by some pretty fucked up rules. You either get swallowed by the city, or you keep your own mind but you lose your reason. You have no idea of this fact when you decide to start walking the grounds of New Orleans. You're just calmly cruising the streets, without knowing that the beautiful southern trees are the ancient hanging posts of hundreds of dead men. The vibe is humid and tropical and your vision is blurred by the sweat. Your fingers caress the tiles. You start getting dirty. As the long night gets darker, you realize that there's a force out there, and that it's pressuring your brain with moist weights. Most of your interactions are with zombies. They've been sucked in by the system. The system is a beautiful blonde American woman that begins sucking your dick on its tip, and before you know it, it has swallowed your entire body and psyche. You start getting paranoid because the people around you have no soul behind their eyes. You grab one by the skull. Are you awake? Can you hear me? Can you even fucking think? And you stand up on the tip of your toes in order to gaze down their pupils, where all you can see is a dark hole. Your pace starts getting quicker. You need to find the others. They're lying homeless on the streets of the French Quarter. You get down on your knees beside them, lift up their hair and stare into their eyes, alive, but inside only madness, total human madness. It's the only way they have survived this entire time. In order to keep the system out of them, your thumbs pull up both their eyelids, Clockwork Orange style, and they will smile at you, and you're gazing inside in order to catch a better view. The human mind is heavily free, but the world it's created is not. I could see inside this bum's head. He had made the decision to self-destruct. Suddenly your mind is between your sweating hands in pain, as you kneel alone in the sea of free men lying on the streets of the French Quarter. the tattooed hand waving the space around, and they are moaning of pleasure, inhaling an air suffused of piss and vomit. On the other side of the street, the zombies are still walking. Blind to the freedom a few meters away from them, New Orleans' tongue is still licking the outskirts of your brain, its forces slowly sucking you inside. While a new information pops inside your mind every 6 seconds, you still have to deal with the 80% of subconscious inside your psyche, and the rules you have learned. Fear and loathing in New Orleans, and the ones you keep on learning. How are you supposed to even communicate when you're not even aware of what's inside your own mind? Only entertainment is an escape to the major fuck-up of your existence, but it's temporary. You look at the bums on the floor. The other escape is madness. At this point in your descent down the spiral of the human mind, your body is completely arbitrary. It is only the mind that counts. A paroxysm of intellectual tripping, and New Orleans has hit. Slowly, your reality begins to decompose. This is probably the most painful experience of your life. The mirror crackles and falls painfully, and your mental space starts expanding. You realize that what you have learned up to this point in time has been a bunch of individual subjectivity. All reason is vomited out of your stomach and fills the rivers of the French Quarter along with the rest of the biller of America's outcasts. Your world is as limited as it's ever been unlimited. The system is so perfectly functional it rotates and consequently becomes profoundly dysfunctional, and you smile with your teeth, because that is what you love. Madness is so freeing. You start waving your hands in space as well, and the walls are gone, completely gone. Now is the beginning of a new life of delicious paranoia. You think as you enter once more the condom of steel and remove it out of New Orleans. Now children, I warn you, this kind of intellectual trip leaves you scarred for the rest of your existence. It definitely altered my personal good functioning, whatever that was supposed to be, and whoever I was or currently am. But as Hunter H. Thompson once wrote, the possibility of physical and mental collapse is now very real. No sympathy for the devil, keep that in mind. Buy the ticket, take the ride.